Hello guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you like this story. Let's get started. John Thompson leaned back in his chair, staring blankly at the wall of his small apartment. The evening sun cast a warm glow, but it did little to lift the heavy weight of disappointment resting on his shoulders. A few months ago, life had felt secure. He was in a committed relationship with Sarah, his college sweetheart, and life seemed bright. But everything had changed in an instant. The betrayal had cut deep. Sarah had crossed a line he never expected. She had cheated on him with Mike, John's best friend since childhood. The news had shattered John's trust, leaving him reeling in a whirlwind of emotions. Anger, sadness, and disbelief. It felt surreal, like a nightmare he couldn't wake up from. The first time John confronted Sarah, it was over coffee at their favorite cafe, a small, cozy place where they had shared countless memories. "I can't believe you do this to me, Sarah," he said, his voice trembling with pain. The cafe buzzed with life around them, but John felt like he was in a vacuum. Her eyes filled with tears, but he didn't want to hear her excuses. "John, I'm so sorry," she had said, her voice barely above a whisper. "It just happened. I didn't mean for it to go this far." "But it did, Sarah. You made a choice. I thought we were building a future together," he shot back, feeling the anger rise within him. He pushed his chair back and stood up, his heart racing. "I need time to think." Months passed, and John found himself at a crossroads. He had distanced himself from Sarah and Mike, but the wounds remained raw. It was a struggle to get out of bed some days, let alone face the world. John threw himself into work at a tech startup, pouring his energy into projects, hoping to drown out the pain. But late at night, when the world fell silent, the memories haunted him. The following Saturday, John met David at a bustling restaurant downtown. The familiar ambience of laughter and clinking glasses made him feel slightly more at ease. They settled into a booth, and as they caught up, John found himself laughing more than he had in months. "Remember that time we tried to bake a cake for the dorm party?" David laughed, recalling the disaster of flour everywhere. "I swear we nearly burned the place down." John chuckled, grateful for the distraction. "Yeah, and we ended up ordering pizza instead. I think the cake was a good decision in the end." As they reminisced, John felt a flicker of normalcy returning. But soon, the conversation shifted back to the topic of relationships. "So, how have you been since everything went down with Sarah?" David asked cautiously, his eyes searching John's face. John took a deep breath, feeling the familiar weight of his emotions. "It's been rough. I thought I could trust her. And Mike, he was supposed to be my best friend." "I can't imagine how that feels," David said. "I'm really sorry. But you deserve to be happy, man. Don't let them take away your chance for a fresh start." His words resonated with John. He realized he was tired of carrying the burden of anger and betrayal. Maybe it was time to let go, to find a way to move forward. As the weeks turned into months, John and David worked closely on the project. They faced numerous challenges, and each time they overcame one, John felt a sense of accomplishment. David often encouraged him to take breaks, and one sunny afternoon, they decided to go for a hike. The crisp air and beautiful scenery filled John with a sense of renewal. "I've always loved nature," he admitted as they reached a viewpoint overlooking the valley. "It reminds me that life keeps moving, no matter how tough things get." "That's a great perspective," David replied, smiling. "And speaking of moving forward, have you thought about dating again?" John paused, his heart racing at the thought. "I don't know, man. It feels too soon. What if I get hurt again?" "You won't know until you try," David encouraged. "Plus, you deserve to find happiness again." Later that week, John found himself scrolling through social media, and an old acquaintance, Nina, popped up on his feed. She was vibrant and full of energy, always radiating positivity. They had hung out occasionally during college, but he hadn't spoken to her in years. Feeling a sudden impulse, John sent her a message. "Hey, Nina, it's been a while. How have you been?" To his surprise, she responded almost immediately. "John, wow, it's great to hear from you. I'm doing well. How about you?" Their conversation flowed effortlessly, and soon they agreed to grab coffee. When the day arrived, John felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. As he entered the cafe, he spotted Nina at a table, her bright smile instantly easing his anxiety. "John, it's so good to see you," she exclaimed, standing to give him a warm hug. They settled into conversation, sharing stories about their lives and the paths they had taken since college. John found himself laughing and feeling lighter than he had in months. There was something refreshing about Nina's outlook on life, and he felt drawn to her warmth. As they finished their coffees, John felt a spark of something he hadn't felt in a long time. "Would you like to go hiking sometime?" he asked, recalling their earlier conversation about nature. "I know a great trail." Nina's eyes lit up. "I'd love that. I've been looking for new hiking buddies." Over the following weeks, John and Nina spent more time together. They hiked, explored the city, and shared their dreams and fears. Each adventure deepened their connection, and John felt a sense of joy he hadn't thought possible. But even as he enjoyed his time with Nina, the ghosts of his past haunted him. One evening, as they sat across from each other in a cozy cafe, Nina looked at him with concern. "John, are you still thinking about what happened with Sarah and Mike?" she asked softly. He hesitated, the weight of his memories pressing down on him. I try not to," he replied, "but it's hard to forget." Nina reached out, placing her hand over his. "You deserve to be happy, John. Don't let them take away your chance for a fresh start." Her words resonated with him, but doubts still lingered in the back of his mind. Could he truly allow himself to feel again? As John and Nina's relationship grew, he found himself falling for her. Yet, the thought of confronting his past loomed like a storm cloud. One afternoon, he received a text from Mike, requesting to meet. John's heart raced at the idea. Could he face the man who had hurt him so deeply? After much internal debate, John decided to meet Mike. They chose a small diner halfway between their homes. The atmosphere was casual, yet John felt a heaviness in his chest as he approached the booth where Mike sat. "Hey," Mike said, looking up. His expression was a mixture of regret and uncertainty. "Thanks for coming." John nodded but remained silent, searching for the right words. Mike took a deep breath. "I'm sorry for everything, John. I messed up. I hurt you and Sarah, and I can't change that. But I'm trying to be a better person." John's heart ached at the sincerity in Mike's voice. He wanted to rage, to scream at the betrayal, but a part of him was tired. "Why did you do it?" John asked, his voice strained. "It was a stupid mistake," Mike replied, his eyes filled with remorse. "I thought it was just a fling, but it became something more. I never meant to hurt you." The pain in John's chest tightened, but he knew he had to confront this part of his life. "You destroyed our friendship, Mike. It's not something I can just forget." "I understand," Mike said, his voice shaking. "I wish I could take it back. But I'm here now, ready to own up to my mistakes. I just hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me someday." John stared out the window, watching the world pass by. The thought of forgiveness felt impossible, yet he knew holding on to anger was weighing him down. "I don't know if I can forgive you," he admitted finally, "but I'm willing to try." "Thank you," Mike said, relief washing over his face. "That's all I can ask for. Just know that I'm working on being a better person." After their conversation, John felt a mixture of emotions. He had confronted the betrayal, but also opened a door to healing. Over the next few days, he found himself reflecting on the past and focusing on the present. As he spent more time with Nina, their bond deepened. They hiked through beautiful trails, shared laughter over coffee, and talked about their dreams for the future. One evening, they watched the sunset from a hilltop, and the sky was ablaze with colors. John turned to Nina, feeling an overwhelming urge to express his feelings. "Nina," he began, his voice steady, "I really enjoy spending time with you. You've brought joy back into my life when I thought I'd lost it forever." She smiled warmly, her eyes sparkling. "I feel the same way, John. I've loved getting to know you better." As the sun dipped below the horizon, John leaned in closer, heart racing. "Can I kiss you?" he asked, seeking her consent. Nina nodded, her smile widening, and as their lips met, a rush of warmth filled John's heart. It felt like the first step toward a new beginning, one filled with hope and healing. As winter settled in, John and Nina's relationship blossomed. They navigated the holidays together, sharing traditions and creating new memories. Each moment felt precious, and John couldn't help but feel grateful for her presence in his life. One snowy evening, they attended a holiday party hosted by David. The atmosphere was lively, with laughter and music filling the air. John felt a sense of belonging as he introduced Nina to his friends. She fit right in, chatting and laughing effortlessly, and John couldn't remember the last time he felt this happy. Later in the evening, as they stood near the fireplace, Nina turned to John with a serious expression. "What are your thoughts about New Year's Eve?" she asked, her voice soft. "Honestly, I've been thinking about it. I want to celebrate it with you," John replied. "Maybe we can find a cozy spot somewhere." Nina's eyes sparkled with excitement. "That sounds perfect. Let's do something memorable." As the countdown to the new year approached, John found himself reflecting on the past year. He had faced heartbreak and betrayal, but he had also found healing and new love. The journey had been challenging, but it had taught him valuable lessons about trust, vulnerability, and the power of forgiveness. On New Year's Eve, John and Nina dressed up for a night of celebration. They joined David and his girlfriend at a rooftop party overlooking the city. The view was breathtaking, with fireworks lighting up the sky as the clock struck midnight. As everyone cheered and celebrated, John took Nina's hand, pulling her closer. "I'm so glad you're in my life," he whispered, feeling a surge of emotion. "I feel the same way," she replied, her eyes filled with warmth. They shared a passionate kiss as fireworks erupted above them, marking the beginning of a new year filled with promise. For the first time in a long time, John felt hopeful about the future. In the weeks that followed, John continued to work on rebuilding his life. He focused on his career and found fulfillment in his projects, while also nurturing his relationship with Nina. They explored new hobbies together, from cooking classes to hiking adventures. With each experience, John felt more like himself again. One evening, as they cooked dinner together, Nina turned to John with a thoughtful expression. "Have you thought about where we're headed?" she asked. "I really care about you, and I want to know how you see our future." John felt a mixture of excitement and apprehension. "I care about you too, Nina. You've helped me heal, and I want to explore this journey together. I'm open to whatever comes next." Nina smiled, relief washing over her. "I'd love that. I think we have something special." As the seasons changed, John continued to embrace the growth he had experienced. He often found himself thinking of Sarah and Mike, but instead of anger, he felt a sense of peace. He had confronted his past, and while it had hurt, it had also shaped him into the person he was becoming. As spring blossomed, John and Nina took a weekend trip to the countryside. They rented a small cabin by a lake, surrounded by nature's beauty. The air was fresh, and the vibrant colors of blooming flowers filled John with a sense of joy and renewal. One evening, they sat by the lake, the sun setting behind the mountains, casting a golden glow over the water. "This place is beautiful," John remarked, taking in the tranquility. "I feel so at peace here." Nina nodded, her expression serene. "It's moments like this that remind us of what truly matters." As they watched the sun dip below the horizon, John turned to Nina, his heart full. "I'm grateful for you, for everything you've brought into my life." She smiled, her eyes sparkling in the fading light. "You've brought so much happiness into my life too, John. I believe we're on the right path together." The following morning, they hiked up a nearby trail, reaching a breathtaking viewpoint that overlooked the valley. As they stood together, John felt a surge of emotion. The beauty around him mirrored the growth he had experienced. "Nina," he began, his heart racing, "I want to take a leap of faith. I want us to build a future together." Nina's eyes widened with surprise and delight. "Are you serious?" "Yes," he replied, his voice steady. "I know we've both been through a lot, but I truly believe we have something special. I want to embrace it fully." Nina stepped closer, her eyes shining with joy. "I feel the same way. I've never been more certain about anything." In that moment, John felt an overwhelming sense of hope. They shared a passionate kiss, surrounded by the beauty of nature, symbolizing the new beginning they were embarking on together. As the months passed, John and Nina continued to nurture their relationship. They faced challenges together, supporting each other through ups and downs. John often reflected on his past, but instead of dwelling on the pain, he focused on the lessons he had learned. One sunny afternoon, as they walked hand in hand through a park, John spotted a group of children playing. Their laughter filled the air, and he felt a warmth in his heart. "Do you ever think about having a family?" he asked Nina. Nina paused, looking thoughtful. "I do. I want to create a loving home filled with laughter and joy." John smiled, feeling a sense of excitement at the thought. "I want that too. I want us to build a life together." As they continued their walk, hand in hand, John felt a deep sense of contentment. He had come a long way from the heartache and betrayal of the past. He had learned the importance of trust, forgiveness, and the power of love. That evening, as they sat on the porch of their cabin, watching the stars twinkle above, John turned to Nina. "Thank you for being my light during the dark times," he said softly. "You've shown me that love can heal even the deepest wounds." Nina smiled, her eyes sparkling with affection. "And you've shown me the strength of vulnerability. Together, we can face anything." With renewed hope, John embraced the future with open arms. He had found love again, and with Nina by his side, he was ready to face whatever life had in store for them. This is the end of today's story. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more captivating stories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.